Chris here with SoundPEATS Life. These are some new Bluetooth 5.2 active noise cancelling earbuds. They have a dynamic driver which is 12 millimeters, so they are big on bass, as you can imagine, with that size of driver. Normally, a lot of the earbuds I review have 10 millimeter, 7 and sometimes even 6 millimeter drivers. Normally, the larger the driver, the better the bass that they can produce, and it's certainly the case here with the Life. So they have a runtime of up to 5 hours with the ANC on, so they do have active noise cancellation. They also have an ambient or pass-through mode with them, gaming mode, and application support too. Now the case does support an additional 4 charges, so you have a total runtime of about 25 hours with the Life. Included within the box, you'll find a Type A to Type C cable. Charge time is approximately 2 hours. We do have some tips here, so there are some large ones and some small ones. They come with the mediums already on their silicon tips, and then a little bit of information about the application and a user guide. And the weight of them, they are very light, as they normally are, because they're made out of plastic, so only 4 grams each for the earbuds, and the total weight here is 50 grams, which is very good. Now I do like the plastic they have gone with here, SoundPEATS. It doesn't pick up smudges or fingerprints really, and I've been using them now for 4 days. Looks good. Good nice texture to it, and they're not using that rubberized coating that you do see with other brands. It tends to look all smeary and smudgy and horrible just after a week or so, but it's not happening here. So there's our Type-C port on the back of it. The lid closes down with magnets, and of course we do have the 2 earbuds there of the Life that are held in magnetically with the pogo port pin connectors. That is how they do charge, and they sit in there nicely that they're not going to be rattling around. I give that a really good shake, and no rattles coming from it at all. There is a status LED in the front there, and overall good quality plastics and a decent nice size to it. These earbuds do have a very common design, and that is the stem design. So this part going down here, the stem, means it just sits quite nice and snug in your ear, and it doesn't feel like it's going to fall out, at least for me. I do find it to be good. Now with the medium tips, these are silicon tips, pretty standard here. They have not softened up now after 4 days of wearing and using them, for sometimes up to around about 2 hours for a listening session. They're good. Now if you were to sleep on them, they're not really ones that I feel you can sleep on because there's just too much pressure applied. You probably want ones without the stem for sleeping, and that are a little bit more lower profile and possibly designed just for sleeping. So a little metal mesh inside, and we have 12 millimeter drivers within. Capacitive touch surfaces here. The touch controls, they tend to work about 9 out of 10 times for me, occasionally a little bit hit and miss. Status LED, and with those touch controls, you can cycle through the ANC. We also do have our pass-through mode, so that's like an ambient mode that picks up ambient noises, amplifies them a little bit, and then just a normal mode, gaming mode, and the ANC with these. So the ANC, I'll talk about it a little bit more later on. I find them to be average, pretty average. It's not a very strong, powerful ANC, but you do notice it cutting down on things like air conditioning units, fans, lighter kind of noises, general humming of, say, public transport. It does a good job to help reduce those. And we do have the contact pins here. So overall, good quality. The plastics don't have any sharp edges or anything like that. And as I mentioned before, they are lightweight, just 4 grams. And here's our application. It is very straightforward. You don't need to log into it or register anything like that, and it will detect them if you've got your Bluetooth on and they are out of the case, of course. So you can see the battery life. And if you go into the settings here, you've got volume control, the adaptive EQ. You can run through that and then turn that on if you want to. And we've got this there preset. So out of the box, it is on the SoundPEATS Classic. I've just kept it on that for this review, of course. And that is what I'm basing how it sounds on that. Now under custom equalizer, you can go in there and tweak this, which is really good that we've got this option because not a lot of brands do offer that. You can cycle through the mode, so ANC, normal mode, transparency mode, game mode for the lower latency, which is good to help reduce any of that lag you may see when gaming. That's really the only area that I do see a tiny little bit of lag, and that really does help out putting it into the game mode. And then you can, of course, hit disable the touch key one-click functionality. I do believe they push out firmware updates, but I haven't had any pop-ups for that. So it looks like, at the time of this video at least, the life here doesn't have any updates. Then our battery life with the SoundPEATS Life, they claim up to 5 hours of runtime with ANC on. Now, I'm getting just over 4 hours. It will be dependent on, of course, the genre of music and your volume. I don't know what volume they tested at to get the 5 hours. That was probably about 50%, maybe even lower. So it is okay, but really average battery life, and you do get an additional 4 charges at least out of the case. Using the out-of-the-box tune, which is the SoundPEATS Classic Equalizer, they are very bass-heavy, extremely bass-heavy. That's really, you can see where these are aiming for people that like clubbing tracks. You like a lot of bass. So you can get some very deep, powerful, impressive bass out of these thanks to the 12mm driver. It's certainly helping. Now, the mids I find to be all right. Vocals, they're good. They're not amazing. It's definitely about the bass here with these. And the highs, well, they could be a little bit more detailed. I almost feel like some of the recent earbuds I've listened to that are very bass-tuned towards the lows. They are certainly just missing out, I feel, on having possibly a balanced armature in there with that 12mm driver as a dual setup would have been really good. So if you love your bass, you like high volumes as well, they can push the volume out really good, really loud. These are your earbuds. But if you're someone that's into detailed, crisp highs and great vocals and mids, you're probably going to be a little disappointed. Overall, for the price they sell for, it's not a bad tune at all. They are good, and they're better than the Air 3 Pros, I think. And would they be suitable for watching video content? The latency doesn't seem to be a problem. Here with the S22 Ultra, I have it in the gaming mode, and it is perfectly in time with the actors' mouths just watching an episode of The Witcher here in Netflix. It's good. It's only in gaming where I see a fraction of lag sometimes come through, even in the gaming mode. But it's pretty good. Quite low latency.
Finally, a microphone sample from the SoundPEATS Life. So they do have some active noise background cancelling for the microphones. You can hear that in some effect, that it's affecting a little the microphone quality. But the main thing is, I can be understood.
The SoundPEATS Life do run off the AAC codec, and it's what I'll be using with your iPhone and with Android phones. So there is no aptX support or LDAC, and I wouldn't expect it either for this price point with them. Now they're very easy to insert them and you're up and running, because as soon as you take them out, they are pretty much paired out, which is common. So you just simply place them in your ears, and because of the stem design, they sit in there really nicely. They don't feel like they're going to fall out on me. And the touch controls, I find they are a little hit and miss at times, but normally they're working. Like now, yeah, that's working fine. Okay, that's working, and then you can do your double taps, your triple tap, and you can also set up a one-tap system through the app if you wanted to do that. Now, tapping and holding on the left side for me, that cycles then through the pass-through mode. So I've got it in pass-through now, and you can hear it's amplifying the ambient noises, which is great for safety. Imagine you're running down the side of the road, or you're walking down the road, you want to hear a bus pass you, traffic coming up to you, cyclists, or you want to hear co-workers, train platform announcements. That's why it is a useful mode to have, so good that it is there. The microphone quality, as I gave you a sample of before, I don't think is bad. It's above average. It's certainly not the best or clearest I have heard, but it's decent for the price point of these, which the same goes for the sound quality too as well with them. I feel, yes, they are bass heavy, mid sound okay, highs, maybe a little bit of details is lacking there, and it's really around the 40-50% and above volume where these really do come alive with that rich, deep, powerful bass. So the ANC, what is it like? Well, enabling it now, I can go into the game mode. You hear that, and then normal mode, and then it goes to the ANC mode, the next one. And I can hear that right now, you hear a light white noise, which is normal. You can hear that hissing sound. I can't hear the air conditioning. I can't hear my Tower PC. It's pretty good, but I can hear that light hissing noise, which is normal with the ANC. Now the ANC level I would rate as being about a medium level. It's not super strong ANC. For in-ears, it's quite good. And I've got the medium tips on, which do give me a very good seal. So it's great to see at this price point, we get the ANC pass-through, gaming mode, really good bass, and of course that's with those 12mm dynamic drivers. So really the SoundPEATS Life here, for the price point, they do offer a lot, and I feel these are better than the SoundPEATS Air 3 Pros. And just definitely with the bass there, it's coming through a lot stronger and a lot more powerful. The only real disappointing thing for me is the battery life is not stellar, it's not amazing. So just over about 4 hours, depending on your volume, that's what I'm getting out of them. So not quite the 5 hours, but they probably test with a lower volume, maybe not so much bass in their tracks too with there. But you do get the additional 4 charges from the case, and most people's listening sessions probably won't be around the 4-hour mark either, so I don't think it's going to be too much of an issue. Overall, great product here from SoundPEATS. Thank you so much for watching my review of the SoundPEATS Life.